Meri's attitude changed where I didn't feel like mine did. What she started doing was when I'd go into the house and, like normally you might see your wife dressing, she would cover herself up and hide.
If you and I are not having a husband-wife relationship and you walk in the room, why would I expose myself to you? So yeah, I am going to guard myself.
Watching Kody and Robyn actually work is honestly the best entertainment I've had in a while. Forget the supposed drama. They're now forced to earn their paycheck, and it's just delicious to watch. I mean, their plot has always been a snooze fest, but now it's all about seeing them squirm as they actually have to do something for their money. For context, the contracts used to be all nice and tidy. One big contract covered the whole family, and Kody got the money, which he would then dole out in allowances. Simple. Robyn didn't even need to film to get paid. She just had to smile and be part of the scene. But now she's on camera more than ever, because there's no one left in Flagstaff for her to latch onto for airtime. Meri was the last one holding onto any screen presence, and now she's gone, leaving Robyn with only Kody. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. So now they're finally working for their pay, and I am here for it. Robyn's going to hit a breaking point sooner or later. Can't wait to see how long it takes before she quits. It also wouldn't surprise me if Robyn's older daughters are being used for more airtime under the pretense of DBS ARK. Whatever that means, just so Kody and Robyn can keep the checks coming. Maybe the girls are getting paid for their appearances, and Robyn is probably taking a cut of that too. So now we get the cringeworthy sight of Robyn pushing her awkward, growth-stunted older girls into the limelight to create a plot, aka extend the paycheck. Oh, and let's not forget her pathetic game night setup with overcooked chicken tenders. Classic Robyn, too pretty to cook, too pretty to work, too pretty for basically everything. Honestly, they should have wrapped the show up after Christine's wedding. I'm still watching, but I'm not even sure why at this point. Maybe I'm just holding out hope that something exciting will actually happen. But right now, all I'm getting is more of the same. Fake drama, recycled plots, and zero real entertainment. Here's an idea. How about watching Kody and Robyn lose their house to foreclosure? Or one of Robyn's daughters thinking she's pregnant after missing her period? Now that's some juicy drama I could get behind. But no, instead we're probably going to be subjected to some boring wedding that no one cares about, because, surprise, they've already been married. Yawn. Maybe the real excitement could come from the Ogies making a surprise visit and seeing how Kody and Robyn squirm. That would be gold. But honestly, I couldn't care less about Robyn's identity crisis or her adult daughters navigating their dating lives. It's all such a waste of airtime and money. None of it's interesting enough to justify the salaries they're making for this garbage. What I do want to see, the girls sneaking out at night when everyone's asleep, or maybe Robyn's ex-in-laws suing them for the money she definitely took. Maybe they could downsize into a trailer home for some real drama. Hell, even a vacation where they actually go sightseeing and do something unscripted would be 1,000,000 times more entertaining than the forced, fake scenes we're getting now. At this point, I'd settle for literally anything that doesn't involve yet another fake holiday gathering or game night. It's just boring. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Robyn's daughters are under total control, and it's honestly sad to watch. The way Robyn has them wrapped around her finger is pretty glaring. Take the eldest daughter, for example. She's in tears, telling Kody she got emotional watching a band set up. That's how sheltered and suppressed they are. It's almost like they've never had the chance to experience the world outside their little bubble. Do these girls even have friends? Probably not. And then there's Kody, who steps in to share his opinions, instead of letting them explore, learn, and grow on their own. But no, instead of fostering independence, he makes sure to smother them with his strong views. Honestly, it's his way of controlling them, keeping them sweet and compliant. It's almost like he wants to hold onto every ounce of their individuality for himself. I can't stand the guy. He looks like a caveman and acts like one too. And don't get me started on his emotionally draining, eyebrow-raising wife. But the truth is, these girls are just copying their mom. They see Robyn's manipulative tactics, like that fake crying routine, and think it works. It's a classic move to get what they want. Look at me, I'm the victim, help me. And somehow, some guys find that kind of behavior irresistible. Weird, right? Is Robyn the only one who's like this? I'm just starting season 3, and honestly, I'm not a fan of Robyn. What really bothers me is that she seems to be the only one making comments about intimacy with the other wives. For example, she'll say things like, "Do you want me to turn around so you can kiss him?" Or, "Do you want me to leave so you too can see if the bed's big enough for everyone?" It's just awkward. And when she was pregnant, she gave this long speech about how one wife being pregnant kind of puts intimacy on display, and how it's tough for the other wives not to think about that. Watching the other wives' faces during that moment, you could see they were a little confused and possibly uncomfortable. She just seems to create tension, and I don't get that same feeling from the other wives at all. They don't make things feel so uncomfortable. It actually reminds me of a coworker I had years ago who believed she could win over any guy. She'd go after someone's husband or boyfriend, prove she could get their attention, and more often than not, she succeeded. Robyn kind of gives me that same vibe. It feels like a game to her, and right now, she's the winner since she's with Kody. One thing I've always appreciated about the show is how it usually keeps things private, especially when it comes to intimate details. Meri's "we don't go weird" comment was a perfect way of keeping things respectful. There were a few moments where things got personal, like Meri's turkey comment or that difficult conversation between Christine and Kody, but they were rare. Then there's Robyn. She's the one who seems to bring up private matters that make others, including Kody, feel uncomfortable. For someone who says she doesn't always understand what's happening, she seems to be the one most willing to talk about these private moments, which can create tension. It almost feels like she's trying to assert control over the situation, showing that she can speak freely about things the others might shy away from. It's like Robyn is subtly reminding everyone that she feels confident enough to discuss these things, even if it's uncomfortable for others. She's making her presence known in a very bold way. Look, I keep seeing people calling Parowan no man's land, so I'm here to set the record straight on what everyone's clearly overlooking. Sure, if you glance at Google Maps, it looks like a town with a gas station and a subway. End of story, right? But I've been to Parowan more times than I can count. About 20 minutes from Lizzie's, there's an entire ski resort. Yeah, Bryan Head, Utah. It might not be Deer Valley or Alta. I grew up in Salt Lake County, so I'm not living in a dream world here. But for people like me with little kids, it's a game changer. We rent a townhome within walking distance of the slopes a few weekends during the winter, and it's crazy affordable, especially compared to the steep prices in northern Utah's ski resorts. There's no way I'd be able to afford a townhome in Cottonwood or Park City for a weekend trip, not in this lifetime. And hey, it gets crowded, which is pretty clear proof that I'm not the only one who's figured it out. Then there's Cedar Breaks National Monument. Have you Googled it? It's stunning, and unlike Zion, it hasn't turned into a tourist madhouse, and Bryce is quickly heading that way. Let's be real, Central and Southern Utah are full of outdoor gems, and after watching every popular tourist spot become unaffordable or overcrowded, we started looking at homes for a weekend getaway. Guess what? This area is still affordable, and it's not overwhelmed by tourists. Now about the inn. If it's losing money, it's not because Parowan is some wasteland. It's not like people are staying away because there's too much competition. Sure, Lizzie's place has that whole creepy Victorian Mormon vibes thing going on. Not my style personally, but with a little update, she could easily make a decent profit. But here's the thing, Parowan's not in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do. The inn isn't even really a B&B anymore. It's Meri's house now. And honestly, I think the problem with the B&B is that it's stuck in the past. No one coming out here to enjoy the outdoors cares about Meri's family's history or all those dusty antiques. The vibe's just not right anymore. She probably wasted a ton of money on the carriage house, and calling it that is, well, let's just say it's laughable. She should have updated the inside to keep the charm without the stuffy antique store feel. And honestly, the landscaping, it's been looking sad for years. Want to attract wedding parties? Try lush greenery. Want to appeal to outdoorsy types? Keep it functional, not a museum piece. Rewatching the adoption episodes was a real eye-opener, especially when it came to the emotional manipulation of the kids. Honestly, it was pretty gross. The way the Brown kids welcomed Robyn's children wasn't just a small gesture, it was full of genuine love and warmth. Leon, bless them, cried when the judge confirmed the adoption. You could see the pure, unconditional love Meri and Leon had for those kids. But now, Robyn has gone and chosen a church that's outright anti-LGBTQIA2+, and it's just another slap in the face to the original Brown kids. They promised Leon they'd have a safe space in their home, and yet, here we are, looking at a web of lies. It's especially awful considering the church they showcased in the last episode was actually welcoming to everyone. No, but it's a sin nonsense. Robyn and Kody's abuse of the original family isn't some dramatic plotline, it's just cruel. They've been exposed for the lies they've been spinning, and frankly, they need to go. And poor Meri, watching her was heartbreaking. She was clearly dealing with medical issues caused by all the stress, and yet she was never allowed to voice her pain. I'm so glad she finally found her voice. She loves those kids and that family, but when she was catfished, they turned on her like she was the perfect scapegoat. It was brutal. Then, Kody's reaction when Brianna and Dayton didn't immediately jump for joy about him signing away his rights. That's what really got to me. They were clearly stunned, and Aurora burst into tears. Kody's response? Well, Aurora's happy, I'll give her a hug. That was downright cruel and manipulative. It would have been totally fine for those kids to have any reaction other than sheer joy in that moment. The pressure they've put on those kids, forcing them to act like they love not having a relationship with their biological father, is awful. No matter how terrible the bio dad might be, though that's up for debate, those kids are absolutely entitled to feel conflicted about him signing away his rights. It's just so much emotional manipulation, and honestly, it's getting harder to watch. What happened to Christine's mom? The last time I checked, she was living in Vegas with Christine. Meri was super excited about buying a B&B and having Christine's mom run it. But then, in the very next episode, out of nowhere, Meri casually says, "Oh, my mom is going to live in it now." What? I felt bad for Annie. After that, I don't think anyone really talked about her again. Did she just vanish? Maybe like Leon, she doesn't want to be discussed on the show, but I remember reading somewhere, either here or in another group, that Annie ended up moving in with one of Christine's siblings since Christine no longer needed her help. Meri probably told her, "Hey, we're not going forward with the B&B idea, but my mom will be living there instead," and then just never updated her when things changed again. I did spot Annie in a recent episode, though, when they went dress shopping, so at least she's still around. That was a nice little moment. Kody's biggest problem? Well, it's obviously Kody. Take that moment when Isabel had her surgery, for example. The real issue here, though, is that no one is making him the priority. Christine? She's busy putting her daughter's health and well-being first, as any mother would. Isabel needed surgery, and Christine didn't waste a second making sure it happened. She moved heaven and earth, packing up all her kids to make it happen. But hey, Kody's upset because apparently the world doesn't revolve around him. Then there's Janelle. She's focused on the financial security of her kids. Her priorities are straight. And Kody's reaction? Not exactly supportive. When she chooses to be there for her daughter during a major surgery, Kody's bitter. He's already dropped comments about her sons just wanting to get their pencils wet. But in this moment, he's upset that Janelle won't kick them out of the house so Kody can resume his relationship. Translation: he just wants his own fun time while completely ignoring the fact that her kids need her. Priorities, right? As for Meri, Kody has no idea what she's up to. She, Leon, Audrey, and Meri's mom are just bouncing around from house to house, living their best lives while Kody is, where exactly? Oh right, he's nowhere to be found. Why? Because he's literally absent. And don't even get me started on how Kody can't wrap his head around why his wife's kids, who don't live at home, except for Robyn's, might actually want to travel during a pandemic. I mean, Robyn doesn't need to go anywhere, so clearly, no one else should either, right? These women are out here being mothers, making the tough decisions, while Kody just wants to keep playing fun dad and avoid any of the hard stuff. Typical. Just my take on it. Finally caught up on the sisterhood of the traveling wives, and let me just say, okay, so I've officially made it through the entire sisterhood of the traveling wives saga, and I've got thoughts? No, more like a full-blown rant. Let's unpack it. Christine, queen of What Does the Nanny Do? She was a total dark horse for me. I started out actively disliking her, but by the end, she became my ultra-stan queen. Watching her grow out of that keep sweet, pray and obey mindset was honestly a redemption arc. If she and David can make it work, good for them. But wow, talk about moving fast. Putting her kids, who are already dealing with a lot, through that whirlwind? Yikes. And the way she flaunts her new relationship sometimes feels super immature, like a teenager on her first girls' trip with no adult supervision. Could have spent a little more time on figuring out independent Christine and helping her kids heal. But hey, who am I to judge? I'm just the viewer watching you air your life on TV. Janelle, the Teflon Queen. I swear, Janelle is the best mom, even though some people might not like her for allegedly being absent in the kids' early years. Honestly, I'm not bothered. My mom worked a lot, and we're fine, so that's whatever. What does sting is how she chose her kids over Kody and ended up losing everything because of him. Watching him hold her financially hostage over that Koyo Pass land? Absolutely gut-wrenching. Meri and Christine made their breaks, mostly, but Janelle was really tied up in that land with no backup plan. I'm the type of person who'd secretly stash away an apartment and a bank account just in case things go south. But watching Janelle stay in that mess with no exit strategy. Oof, my anxiety can't handle it. Meri quite contrary. It's honestly embarrassing how long she let Kody string her along. She was the last to leave, of course. He was so awful to her face, but her low self-esteem, thanks, catfish, kept her hoping for his attention. Honestly, I'm glad she found herself a business and a cute B&B to run off to. If she's actually ready to spill the tea, I'd be low-key here for her book. Also, is it just me, or has she started going after Robyn in the latest episodes? Let's see where that train wreck goes. Robyn rocking chair on the porch with my sister wives. Kody says Janelle plays the victim card all the time, but like hello? Robyn is the queen of playing the victim card while literally stealing Kody's time, attention, and resources. She's not the girl's girl she pretends to be. She kept the other wives in these loveless relationships just to fulfill her weird little sister-wife fantasy. The moment that broke me was how she treated Savannah after the divorce. If Robyn really wanted Kody to fight for his relationship with his kids, she would have at least invited Savannah over or done something thoughtful for her. Nope. All talk, no action. She's selfish, and I'm just here waiting for her downfall. Honestly, the sooner the better. K*die. Nothing new to see here. What else is there to say that hasn't been said 1,000 times? Honestly, I just hope that Kody and his micro-penis get so isolated from everyone in his life that the only thing left for him is a lonely nursing home bed. Maybe then, a big strong man can wipe the drool from his mouth and the crap from his crippled, homophobic ass crack every single day. Every single day. The kids, honestly, I feel bad for all of them. Especially Robyn's brainwashed zombie girls. It's a tragedy, really. I wish we got to see more of the older kids, but hey, I get it. They want privacy now. Fair enough. But the way they were so much more open than Saul and Eri talking about bugs on the couch. Come on, give me more of that, please. Special mentions. A special shout out to the Law with the Pond, the mysterious family group chat. Seriously, please add me. And, of course, Coronavirus 19. That was a whole era, wasn't it? The writing was definitely on the wall from the start, but let's really take a minute to admire how blindingly obvious it became by season 4. From the very first season, it was crystal clear that Kody's treatment of Robyn was a whole different level from how he dealt with the other wives. And surprise, surprise, the older kids weren't exactly rolling out the welcome mat for her either. Robyn's entrance into the family? Yeah, that definitely threw a wrench into the whole operation. But of course, Kody couldn't be bothered to notice because he was so utterly enchanted by her, he ignored the chaos around him. Then there was that moment, that delightful sob fest with Christine, where he wailed about how much he missed Robyn. Totally no pun intended, right? In that moment, Christine learned everything she needed to know. Kody never loved her. Not even a little. And that's when she started asking for more of his time and attention, realizing, quite correctly, that she wasn't getting her fair share. Christine? Always outspoken, always quick to call things out. Now Meri and Janelle? Oh, they've always been the go-along to get along types. Not as quick to call Kody out, and definitely not as willing to stir the pot. Speaking of Janelle, can we just talk about how going public basically stripped her of any sense of autonomy? She was happier when she had a little privacy, when her life wasn't a public spectacle. But no, Kody made sure Robyn's needs came first, and that only made it harder for Janelle to keep her balance, especially as she watched her own identity slip away. And here's a fun nugget most people forget. In season 1, Meri was actually more on Christine's side than she gets credit for. It's just that, by season 2, she'd been told one too many times that everything she said was wrong, so she started keeping her thoughts to herself. I'm watching old episodes, and just reached the one where Kody and Robyn both had coronavirus. They're both acting like they're on the verge of death, but somehow they're still able to make videos. Kody's over here making a huge fuss over a 99-degree fever, which really, that's it. They both keep claiming to feel terrible, yet they're perfectly fine to keep up the act. It's honestly the worst. What's even worse is how he didn't even bother to wish Gabe a happy birthday. Instead, he calls to interrogate him about coronavirus. Really, that's the best he can do. And then there's Robyn, with her "oh, I'm on my deathbed" routine while in the ER with no oxygen, making it sound like she's about to meet the Grim Reaper. Please, they didn't even admit her to the hospital. Meanwhile, I was in ICU for weeks on oxygen and didn't complain a fraction as much as they did. But here they are, acting like they're living through some major crisis. It's laughable. And let's not forget Kody's dramatic tale of how he saw the Grim Reaper during his coronavirus battle. Really? With a 99-degree fever? If that's what it takes to almost meet death, I think we've got a different idea of what close to death means. Robyn's kids crying because they weren't sure if they'd ever see their mom again. She wasn't even admitted to the hospital. It's all part of their manipulation, and it's truly despicable. I completely lost all sympathy for Kody after hearing Gabe talk about his father not even acknowledging his birthday. And when he refused to pay for Isabel's surgery, suggesting they postpone it while she was in excruciating pain, all because he didn't want to cough up the money. The sight of Isabel crying, both before and after surgery, desperately needing her dad, was the moment I went from disliking Kody to flat out hating him. It's just beyond awful. I've been binge-watching until episode 7 of season 8, and I just can't shake off how awkward and cringy that scene was when Meri offered to divorce Kody so he could marry Robyn and adopt her kids. Honestly, it felt like a bad soap opera. It gave me the same vibes as when Robyn casually offered to be Meri's surrogate. Both of them seemed way too scripted. Robyn and Kody are like master manipulators who knew exactly how to use poor Meri. I genuinely feel bad for her and all the stuff she had to endure for years. Sure, she chose this lifestyle, but it really seems like she was brainwashed into it from the start. I've seen a lot of people call Meri this terrible person, but honestly, it's complicated. Understanding how the brain and psychology work takes some serious thought. She should have left the family ages ago, but I bet she stuck around for her daughter. Then, when her kid left for college, suddenly they all needed Meri, treating her like she had to become a nanny to be accepted into the family. Imagine constantly having to prove your worth, competing for love and acceptance. It's exhausting. But remember, Meri grew up in a culture and religion that made her believe she was going to hell if she didn't live that way. Brainwashing isn't just a catchy word. It really messes with people in deep ways. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.